Welcome into Snow The Goalie. We are here at Chickie's and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. A little bit of a hike, but boy, was that hike worth it. It's like climbing a mountain. You reach the summit, you'll check out the view. What an incredible spot we got here tonight, Anthony.
Yes, this is one of the nicest, if not the nicest, Chickies and Pete's. They're all great, but this one is a really great setup here in Marlton, New Jersey. We are around the corner from Bundy.
Yes.
And he's not here.
He's not.
Literally around the corner. He lives, like, he could take a nice short jog and get here.
Do you remember the end of Muppets Christmas Carol when Ebenezer Scrooge takes the entire town and they show up to Bob Cratchit's house? Remember that?
Yeah.
I think what we should do tonight is we should take everybody who's here at Chickies and Pete's and we should lead them, right, like the Pied Piper, and take like a delicious goose to Bundy's house. And then when he gets back tonight, it's just everybody, will you join us for a delicious goose dinner? You know, that'd be great.
And it's, you know why it's great? You know why it would work? Because he's home alone this week.
So he would love it.
Yes.
Love the company.
He would love the company.
Ah, you brought me a goose. Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. I'll tell you what else is great. Boy, how about them Philadelphia Flyers guys, right? You know, a little bit of controversy this week, and then the Fly guys go out and they get a win at home. We're going to talk about that, and of course, they have one game left before the Olympic break. We have a lot to get into there. But today was also a big day in the NHL and in the college ranks. In the NHL, of course, Artemi Panarin, a name that people had long been bantering about. Where was he going to go? Clearly, the Rangers were ready to move on. There was a nonsensical rumor out there that the Flyers might be involved, which was hilarious and unhinged. Well, he doesn't land in Philadelphia. He goes out west to the Kings. Apparently, that was his preferred destination. And the last I looked, he was about to sign a 2-year extension at $11 million per year, very clearly signaling that that was his preferred destination. We could talk about that in the fallout. But we really have to also have a conversation about, well, the guy that many believe is going to be the number one pick in the upcoming NHL draft, Gavin McKenna. Boy, maybe he's got a little bit more Broad Street bully in him than we gave him credit for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of breaking news this afternoon, right before, late this afternoon before we came on the air.
The news wasn't the only thing breaking. Apparently somebody's jaw was, too.
Yeah, apparently he got into a bit of an incident occurred at a Penn State bar. That's not that surprising that an incident occurs at a Penn State bar. But he was charged with felony aggravated assault for breaking somebody's jaw.
We're going to bring it up here. We're going to bring the here's the official court document. This is what it's all about. This is why you come check out the show. Here is the official court document. Felony aggravated assault, awaiting preliminary hearing. Pretty wild, man. Let's see. Aggravated assault attempts to cause serious bodily injury or causes injury with extreme indifference. Simple assault, which is a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Harassment and also disorderly conduct, engaging in fighting. Yeah. He's going to fall to the Flyers at number 17 in the draft. Hey, come on now. That's good news today. Intern Andrew looks absolutely dejected.
Yeah, I know. Brian Knowlton says he wants to know if there's a welfare check on Intern. Intern is actually here.
He isn't. He doesn't have his camera on. He doesn't want people to see how sad he looks.
And when I told him the news earlier, he was like distraught, like absolutely distraught. And the funny thing is that now there's some unconfirmed reports about what exactly took place and whatever else. And so I read one of them to you, and I said it out loud. He's literally, 6 feet to your right?
Yes.
I said it out loud for enough people to hear. I'm sure other engineer Gus, I think he probably heard the story. Like I said it loud enough. Gus is nodding, right? Like he's nodding. He heard the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And we explained, like, oh, okay, well, maybe if that's true, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like 10 minutes later, Andrew goes, guys, I've heard what happened. I know what's. I'm like, all right, what do you got? What do you got? You got an update? And he basically repeated everything that I had just said.
Oh yeah, it sounds like the players were at a bar, and yeah, I mean it was unbelievable, uncanny, absolutely.
So yeah,
uncanny.
Yeah, he's more worried about how this affects.
Yeah. We talked to him about it as soon as we get here, and the first thing he says is, "Yeah, guys, I mean, his draft status, whatever, but what about Penn State's hockey season?"
Yeah, he was all worried about Penn State's hockey season. It's all worried about it.
It doesn't matter. They were going to run into the buzzsaw that is Michigan State and Porter Martone, the pride of the Philadelphia Flyers.
That would have been a good time if he was on camera for you to play the Bundy. What happened there? That would have been a real good moment. Are you going to find it now?
I got it.
What happened there?
Like Oh, man. So we have that. Now, all right. So in theory, if he's convicted, that's potentially 20 years in prison.
Yeah, that's
which is no laughing matter.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Highly unlikely it happens.
Yes.
Here's the real question.
He won't spend a day in prison.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
One, does Penn State suspend him? Let's start there. Or does it matter on circumstances? What do you think there?
Well, I think he probably will. They probably will in some capacity because, he has to know at all times that he's representing the university.
Correct.
Blah, 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 right? So that kind of stuff. So I can imagine that he'll probably have some kind of punitive action from the university, but I don't think I would be stunned if it's something that extends into the postseason and beyond. I would be stunned. I would be surprised.
I think that would be surprising on one hand. And on the other, it's you have to let the legal process play out. And at the same time, it is a really serious charge. It's not a misdemeanor.
Yeah, no, it's a felony.
There is a misdemeanor on there, but it's a felony. So it's not ideal. Now, I guess the next question is, does this potentially affect his status as the number one prospect going into the NHL draft? And could it potentially lead to a situation where Gavin McKenna starts to fall down the draft board?
It's way too early to say anything like that. I think that we need to kind of learn the facts of the case beforehand. If this turns out to be that it's a trumped up charge and he pleads to a misdemeanor, and he's not guilty of the felony, no, it's not going to impact his draft status at all. If, however, he's found, goes through a whole proceeding here and goes to court and he's found guilty of this, and even if he doesn't end up with jail time, then it could affect, it could have an impact, right? But I don't think so. I would venture to guess that there will be a way to get this either reduced or he'll be thrown out. One or the other. I can't imagine that he's going to be charged. He has been charged. I can't imagine that he's going to have to fight that actual charge against him.
So there's there does seem to be a narrative going around, and we don't know this. We're not confirming that this
is
the case. But there is a report out there. There have been some personal testimony, I guess.
Andrew, is there a report?
Well, I'm saying there's some things that are being put out there.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the report confirming.
No, but you got to remember, this could also be the Penn State Mafia, right?
It could be.
Coming to all circling the wagons,
Penn State Mafia.
Right, and making sure that they all have their story straight to kind of, remember, we are. That's their phraseology, right? They're going to defend themselves at any and every case. So you got to be very careful.
Are going to visit in prison.
So you got to be very careful with what you put out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I won't tell you that there are people saying that there were some very mean things being said about Gavin McKenna's mom, and he may have defended his mother's honor, who may or may not have been there. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. But when we find out, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gavin McKenna going to be a Flyer at the 15th pick in the draft. All right. Sounds cool. So that's the Gavin McKenna of it all. Do you want to really quick touch on the Artemi Panarin thing before we get into Flyers hockey tonight?
Yeah. It's not a surprise. We knew that the Rangers were going to move him. It sounded like they were really pushing to try and get it done before the Olympics. They didn't want it to drag on for the rest of the month because there's a freeze. You can't do anything, and then, whatever. So they really were trying to push to get it done. I think that they got a decent deal out of it. I think Liam Greentree is a decent prospect. I know Bundy is not as enamored with him. Bundy thinks he's kind of like a B-level prospect. I think he was one of the top prospects in the Kings organization, if not the top. And then there's a couple of draft picks. The Rangers are going to retain salary for this season to make the trade work. So I think it's a decent deal for the Rangers, considering it's an expiring contract. The return. The Kings, I don't know. I don't know why that makes sense, other than the fact that Panarin wanted to go there, right?
Yep.
So he wants to be there. But for the Kings, I'm not sure that they're a real contender.
They're not.
Right? They're a playoff team.
It seems like he just wanted the LA lifestyle.
But if you're the Kings, they're already an old team. right, as it is. And why, why are you promising to add, a contract for this guy, even if it is less than what he originally asked for, which I think he originally asked for 4 years, $50 million.
Yeah.
Even if it is what you said, and it's like 222, I think you said it was, right? Yeah. Whatever. Like, even if it's that, I don't know. Like, if you're the Kings, you look at your team and sit there and go, oh yeah, between this season and the next two, we think we have a Stanley Cup team here. Like,
well, that's the thing you always say. It's like you get into the dance,
sure,
and you never know what'll happen. So I mean, I don't think that they're a legit contender, but whatever. I mean, sometimes you gotta push some chips in, and the cost wasn't that high.
No, well, I mean, Greentree's a good player. Like, I mean, that's a good prospect. Like that, like, to me, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gave up a player who should be a good part of the future for an organization. He's going to be a good player for the Rangers now.
Yeah.
So you gave that up, and knowing this year, Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota are all significantly better than the Kings.
Yep.
So maybe the Kings might be the fourth best team. I mean, I think there's a glut of teams in the West that could kind of fall into that fourth spot. But you're not the top tier. And when you look at those other teams, I don't know how you sit there and say, well, in the next 2 years, we will be better than that, or we'll be with them. Like, those rosters are just loaded. And so I don't know. I don't know how it makes sense from the Kings' perspective.
Well, the good news is it has nothing to do with the Flyers. So Panarin is now out of the division, and that's not a bad thing, except it does mean that the Rangers, who are already kind of in tank mode, and certainly we're getting ready to prepare for a drop to the bottom of the well, this helps to expedite that at least a bit.
Yeah, and I think that there's going to be more. Like, I don't think that they're done. I think that the Rangers will move other players before the deadline, for sure.
But will the Flyers? That's the real question. That's what we're all kind of wondering now, aren't we?
Yeah, the only guy that could potentially, and I say potentially, because I think a lot of it's going to have to do with how he holds up at the Olympics and maybe even a few games after that, is Rasmus Ristolainen. Like, that's really the only one of substance that you can.
The Flyers couldn't get rid of Rasmus Ristolainen. That would, you'd really have to blow their doors off to get rid of Risto.
Well, it's not that you have to blow their doors off. You have to pay what.
He's a critical member of this team, Anthony. They can't. I mean, I don't even know if the organization continues to exist.
He's a top 4 defenseman for a playoff team.
He stinks.
Well, you keep saying that, but there are teams that would take him if he's healthy.
Let somebody take him.
And I'm talking contenders for a Stanley Cup are going to take a shot.
Totally fine. Let him take him.
I mean,
I can't stay healthy.
That's the issue. That's his. I mean, if you want to say that he has a problem with injuries, that's fine. But don't say he stinks, because he doesn't. I mean, if he stinks, people wouldn't be offering high draft picks for him. Like, they just wouldn't.
They were offering high draft picks last year. I mean, I can't imagine anybody's looking to bowl the Flyers over right now, given the injury issues.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe by the time, what is it, March 6th is the deadline? March 3rd is the deadline?
Let's see how he plays. Watch the Olympics. Let's watch. I think watching Risto in the Olympics will give you a better indicator of what he might look like in the playoffs, because it's that level of play.
Yeah.
Right? So watch him for Finland in the Olympics, and then you'll see, and you'll have an idea of where it's at.
I do wonder if And listen, we've been talking recently about how Emil Andre just does not look like the same guy of late. I do wonder if there's a conversation there. I wonder if there's a thought that maybe that impacts their likelihood of moving a guy from the blue line. Like, they're totally different players. You wouldn't look at Emil Andre and say, there's your Risto replacement. It's a totally different kind of player. But
no,
if you felt more strongly about your defensive core, maybe it would make a Risto more expendable.
Yeah, but the guy, well, here's the other issue. So the guy, and we talked to Todd Reardon about this at the Carnival, the guy who could potentially be that Risto replacement, Ty Murchison, is out for the year.
Ooh.
With an injury. So that becomes, now he could be that guy long term.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe.
Possibly.
I think he's more of a Nick Seeler than he is a Rasmus Ristolainen, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could be a thing, right? I mean, that's kind of where you're at with that.
So Risto really is one of the only guys of value that you would look at. Obviously, they decided to re-up Christian Dvorak. Had they not done that, he probably is a super attractive piece on the market. because you expect that there won't be a lot of centers available. So you might have been able to get not quite a king's ransom, but certainly something for Dvorak. That won't happen now. They don't really have that many guys that I think they'd be open to moving.
No.
Even if you look at a guy like Owen Tippett, who, does he
Not
fit? Does he not
again,
fit?
not
They're not going to move him at the deadline.
Not at the deadline. That's a guy that could move in the off season, but not at the deadline. Just yeah. So
it's a weird spot that they find themselves in. Like with the Rangers, right? The Rangers very clearly are going to kind of tear it down, at least for this year.
Yeah,
and they're going to sell off pieces that, in some ways, are better than a lot of the pieces that the Flyers even have. Like Panarin on this team would automatically become the number winger on the team.
Oh, he'd be top one,
right? And they were willing to kind of sell him off for. I mean, you would argue he's a good prospect and a couple of a third and a fourth round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, the Flyers don't have anybody of that level, and they're also not going to try to trade it. So there's your difference. Is the Rangers have valuable assets? They probably are going to move more of them. They're going to probably come up with not quite a bounty and not like a treasure chest of assets out of this deadline, but they're going to have a lot of ammo going forward. The Flyers, it kind of feels like, are just going to largely remain somewhere around where they're at now.
Well, I don't necessarily know. I mean, the Rangers don't have a lot of prospects to begin with, and now they've added a third round pick that could become a second if the Kings win a round in the playoffs. I love how those are the qualifiers. Like, if we win a round, we'll make it a better pick.
Yeah.
Win one round, you're happy with that to give up, make it a second round pick instead of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it should be, you should want to, aspire for further, but whatever. And then the fourth round pick is a couple years away, and it's only if they win 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. So if the Kings don't reach the Western Conference Final, they don't even get the fourth round pick. So it's only then becomes Green Tree in the third. Or potentially a second if they win one round.
Yep.
So it's not like they got the prospect is the guy. I mean, the picks are whatever.
But that prospect could also be part of another package. That's part of why you try to make a move.
Yeah, but not if you're the Rangers, right?
I'm saying that in theory, it depends. It gives them a little bit more flexibility. They have something that's a little bit more of a known commodity, right? Versus, like Briere said it not that long ago, right? Like, teams ultimately are looking to trade for players, not numbers.
Yeah.
Right. So
just to answer Kyle Adams' question here, where he's saying, out of curiosity, why tip it in the offseason? Don't teams overpay at the deadline? They do overpay at the deadline, but players with that kind of term are often not traded at the deadline. They're just not. The conversations may begin to happen at the deadline for the offseason about players like that. A lot of times teams will put players who have a lot of term on their contract, who they're thinking about moving, weigh their value. They might have those discussions, which is why you might hear those names. But it's pretty rare that a guy with that much term left on a contract gets moved at the trade deadline.
Now, I think that one of the questions that people have had, and maybe will continue to have, is you listen to Keith Jones on our show at the Carnival, you listen to Danny Briere talking to the media before the Caps game. They both said, they're looking at the long-term vision of this team and trying to turn this team into some form of a long-term Stanley Cup contender, not a one-and-done playoff appearance and then you miss the playoffs next year. Like Danny essentially called that out specifically last night. If you look at a guy like Travis Konechny, who looked so dejected a week ago, right, and said, I'm sick of missing the playoffs. I'm tired of missing the playoffs. Is there a possibility that Briere and Jones, they look at it and they go, listen, we are committed to this longer term vision. We haven't wanted to trade Travis Konechny before, but you have a conversation with the player and say, listen, this might take a little bit more time. We're going to ultimately kind of leave it up to you if you want us to field conversations. You give us a list and we'll see if we can facilitate. Is that a conversation that you think they maybe are more apt to having now?
Only if the player wants to go. Okay. Like only if the player comes to them. And I think that there's great respect there with Konechny. I think that they look at him as the emotional leader of the team, the heartbeat in a lot of ways of the team. And I would say that only if Konechny came to them and said, hey, guys, can you find me a better opportunity, would they do that. I don't see them doing it otherwise.
Okay.
Just don't. So.
And I saw, people, I don't know. They're just in this weird spot where they don't have a lot to deal away, and yet they're not really good enough to be a playoff threat. They're kind of in that no man's land, like there's they don't have an easy way to kind of blow things up if they really wanted to try to start start over to some extent.
You can, Russ. There's players that teams would be interested in. Look, going into the offseason, you're going to have to move 2 wingers. Let's be honest. Look at your team right now, right? The guys that are playing right now. Think Martone's going to be in your lineup and Forster will be back.
Yeah.
So 2 of your wingers, your current wingers, can't be here. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking fourth line guys. I'm talking guys in the top 9, right? Mm-hmm. So you're talking of the 6 wing guys who are playing on your wing right now in the top 3 lines, 2 of them won't be here. They're all under contract. So you're going to have to trade them. You might not trade them at the deadline, but you can certainly trade them in the offseason so that they are still assets. You can get something for Owen Tippett in the offseason. You can get something when 30 teams are interested. You can get something for Bobby Brink in the offseason, who I think is probably one of the guys that you're going to move on from, right? So that's probably the direction that you're going to go to make room for those 2 players.
It's just that whatever you're going to get back for those guys, especially in the case of Brink, I don't know what you're going to get back for him that's going to be in any way helpful. It's almost like you're just kind of clearing money. I
don't think so. I think teams.
What's a team realistically going to give for Bobby Brink? Realistically, what are you going to get?
Russ, he's still a young player. He was a 2nd-round pick. He's a decent player. I mean, it's not like we're sitting here talking about a guy who.
I think he's a good player, but I'm
not good.
He doesn't. No, I'm saying he's a good player. He's not a great player. I don't think he has like elite upside. So what would you get for that guy? You're looking at a second, a third?
I think you're at least getting a second.
Okay.
I think you're at least getting a second, if not more.
You think a team would trade a first for Bobby Brink?
Possibly.
I don't think so. Okay. Interesting.
Possibly.
Interesting.
So
as of right now, in your mind, the players that are the most likely to be considered for a trade between now and draft day or on draft day are Rasmus Ristolainen.
Yes.
Bobby Brink.
Yes.
Owen Tippett? That's your top 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's other guys. I mean, do they trade Carl Grundstrom at the deadline? I mean, I guess.
I don't know why you would. That seems.
Well, I'm just saying he's a guy who's just if somebody's looking for a 4th line wing type, you can move him. Could you move Noah Juleson if somebody's looking for a depth defenseman? I think things like that can certainly happen as well. But I'm talking about players that you think about, as the core of the team.
Does Noah Cates tickle anyone's fancy?
I don't think the Flyers are ready to give up on Noah Cates because Cates plays well with Forster. He just has not looked good without Forster, right? Okay. So I think that he's still young. They look at him as a guy who as a future leader of the team. Kind of type of player. So I don't see Cates being a guy that would get him. Now, that being said, if you're talking about acquiring a major name and they say we want Noah Cates back in return as part of it, then you got to think about it, right? I'm not saying it's a total no, but at the same time, it's not like you're looking to move on from Cates, especially because what aren't there in the league?
Centers.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality.
I just feel like we're on this hamster wheel of lunacy where it's like the team's not good enough. We know the team's not good enough. Everyone knows the team's not good enough. If you're in here, if you're out of here, the team's not good enough. And then it's like, all right, well, how do you get out of being on this hamster wheel? You might have to move pieces, but you don't want to move those pieces because we think that a guy who's probably a bottom 6 forward is going to be a future leader of the team. It just doesn't. The math doesn't math.
No, you're saying, but you see, the math does math. It does, Russ, because trade Noah Cates.
Yeah.
Who's the center next year that replaces him?
I don't know.
That's the problem. And if you say, well, we'll go out and get another bottom 6 guy, then that's the cycle. That's the cycle of recycling the same kind of player.
I guess the difference is if you go out and you get a quote unquote veteran bottom 6 guy to replace Cates, whatever you trade or whatever you get back in a trade for Cates, who's younger, might be a better asset than the one that you have to give up to go get that 4th line center. I don't know.
Yeah, but my point is that you don't have you need to have a solution. If you're trading centers, you need to have a solution at that spot.
I don't disagree. I mean, I think things get a little bit easier if this Trevor Zegras at center experiment works out.
It's not going to.
Well, we'll see if it does.
It's not.
I just think it's interesting. It took over half a season for the coach to consider it, but here we are.
Well, it's because they lost a center to injury.
Yeah.
And they don't have one that could come up and play.
I'm just saying. I think
that's the only reason they're doing it.
Yes.
It's not like they're saying, "Oh, well, here's a novel idea." It's the situation.
Well, though Tocchet did say the other day, he didn't kind of blame it on the injury. Tocchet did say the other day, we thought that it was something worth looking at, and we didn't look at it early in the season because he was really going there on the wing with Dvorak for a while.
And they lost the center.
But he didn't say that. I'm saying his whole point
that's fine.
was that
and they lost the center.
Zegras was going really well on the wing, and they didn't want to mess with it.
Well, sure, and they shouldn't have messed with it. But at the point, so it coincided, right? So Zegras cooling off coincided with them needing a center and not having one in the system ready to go. Mm-hmm. That's what it coincided with.
Can I ask you this though? Like I hate to go back to this, but like if you were to get a decent enough offer for Cates, I like Cates. I'm not saying that they should actively look to trade him. Isn't that where, like, I don't know, a former first-round pick maybe should be good enough to make the team?
Is this you ripping Luchenko again?
I'm just asking.
He's 19.
Okay.
It's 19.
I'm just asking.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, you want to rip him in 3 years? Fine.
19-year-olds don't make the league. Yep.
Not when you're only when you're drafted up high, dude.
Yep.
Oh my God, you're ridiculous sometimes.
I want somebody to pull. Can you pull how many 19, 20-year-olds are in the league this year? I would like to.
Well, again, he just turned 19.
He did.
All right, at the start of the season. So let's keep that in mind.
I will simply point out, though, that last year they had the conversation about having him play a few games. They had the conversation at the beginning of this year of him playing a few games. If they were willing to give him an even small look at it this year, then you would hope that next year they view him as being somebody who, at the very least, could potentially play bottom 6 minutes for you if you needed him to.
They want him to play a full year in the AHL. That's what they want.
Okay.
All right. They kept him around this year because it was just like, we don't know what our center situation is. They didn't know what they were going to get out of Dvorak. Like, there was a lot of things that there was just kind of, and it was pretty evident right away that he's not NHL ready.
Yeah.
Just not.
Oh, what's it? All right, hold on. Let's see. Intern. Oh, jeez. He didn't mute this, and now we're going to have an incident here with Echo. There are 11 players. Is that 11?
11.
We got Zeev Buyam. I don't know if you heard of him. He's playing in the league.
Yeah.
Ivan Demidov. That was something the Flyers couldn't have been in contention for. There's Catton from the Kraken. Who else? Seneca of the Ducks. Zane Parake of Calgary. We got a Penguin on here, a defenseman. Okay, I got to move this around.
You couldn't figure out how to mute his phone?
There's no. We'd have to remove it from the.
There's no outer thing. Like, no. I have a box, and you just slide the switch.
Yours does that. Have you seen his phone? Have you seen Captain Potato Cam?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So, but my point is it's not customary for 19-year-old centers to just automatically come into the league. It's just not.
Okay.
So, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
And just because somebody puts them in the league doesn't mean that they're ready for the league either. Mm-hmm. You got to look at the situations too. Every team is different.
Okay.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to tell everybody where we're at?
We are at Chickie's and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey.
Can you sound a little bit more excited when you say that? You're all upset about Luchenko.
How about
He's all upset about Luchenko again.
No, because
we are live at Chickie's and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. I would argue probably the nicest of all the Chickie's and Pete's this side of the Mississippi. I mean, truly a wonderful place to come out. Look at the smiles on the faces of the people out here, too. They are thrilled. Everybody's thrilled. Food is fantastic. You can come on out to one of 17 different locations that Chickie's and Pete's has in the greater the Philadelphia area, right? Yeah. You got PA, you got New Jersey. We know. We talked about this at the airport. Nothing quite as nice as sitting down, having some crab fries before you hop on a flight. And, of course, if you're down here in Marlton, this is the place to be.
I'm sure that's good for the people sitting behind you on the plane, too, right?
What, the crab fries?
Yeah.
Well, I don't take the crab fries on the plane.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
All right.
Should take a crab cake sandwich. Have you ever actually...
There's nothing worse than someone bringing food that smells onto a plane.
Let's talk about that when this little hit is over. Okay, so you come on out to one of the 17 locations of Chickie's and Pete's. You come out and you get, I don't know, maybe you want to get the mussels in white or the mussels in red, or maybe you want to do what I do, what Bundy usually does. You get 12 cold shrimp, get a little bit of cocktail sauce to get things started. Then maybe you move on to a grilled chicken sandwich like I do, or Maybe you get a crab cake sandwich, or you move on to the Anthony SanFilippo special with the fish tacos. Of course, you have to get crab fries, and you never know. Maybe you get a pizza. Bundy always likes to get a nice little plain pizza and get pepperoni. There's one that I think has hot honey on it as well.
Yes, it does.
This is a great place to go. And by the way, regardless of if you want to come out for a Flyers game or a Sixers game, or, well, I guess we're apparently not that far away from Dave Dombrowski's team coming out to play as well. You can come on out, and there's no better place to take in a game than Chickies and Pete's. And the Olympics are coming up. What better place to watch Team USA, am I right, than Chickies and Pete's? So come on out, find them at one of their 17 locations. And you know what? If you want, let them know Snow the Goalie sent you.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, since you just made a line about, took a little pot shot at the Phillies too. I figured I'd ask it coming off of the conversation we were just having before the Chickies and
Stinky
Pete's
food on the plane?
No, before we get to the stinky food too.
Okay.
Yeah. Except for when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Have you ever had anything positive to say on any show that you're on?
Yes.
About sports teams?
Yes.
You have, really?
I talk all the time about what an absolute joy it is to have Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe playing for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Although VJ may not be here much longer if they trade for Giannis.
They're not going to trade for Giannis. They just traded Jared McCain today. They're not going to deplete all of their guard depth to go after Giannis, who would, by the way, take up a lot of the same spaces on the floor as Joel Embiid. They're not going to do that. So I talk very positively, very glowingly about those guys. I have spoke glowingly about young Matvei Michkov. I wish that there were more elite talent on the Flyers that I could wax poetic about. Unfortunately, there aren't. Talk about the Eagles a lot. Talk about a lot of the guys on the Eagles that I think are on the trajectory of being very, very good to great players, young guys, right? Especially on the defense. Talk about those guys all the time. I know I also decry Nick Sirianni, who, likes to wave the pom-poms. I'm not really sure what else goes on over there. Who else would you like? The Phillies. Like, who do you want me to talk? I always talk about how Zach Wheeler is an absolute stud of an ace.
I think you thrive on the negative.
I don't.
I do.
I would love to just be happy all the time. My last name is Joy. It's kind of against the brand to be down in the dumps. But sometimes the Philadelphia teams, they drive me there.
Yeah.
And I'm in the passenger seat. I have no impact on what Dave Dombrowski does or does not do in the offseason.
So it is time, Russell, before we get to the stinky food on the plane.
He pivoted out of that. You see that?
It's just
before he had to try to tell me Aaron Nola's an ace again.
Here we go. It's time for the Philadelphia Flyers Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week. Brought to you, of course, by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. It's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Who do you got this week? It's not a great week. I mean, they've played, I think it's 3 games since we last broadcast, maybe 4? Yeah. 4 games. And they went 1-2-1 in those 4 games. So just want to kind of get your thoughts on Player of the Week.
It always feels like a cop-out, but I really think it's Dan Vladar. I mean, like,
he had a great game yesterday.
You look at his game last night, and by the way, we got to talk about the Stars because we talked about it post-game yesterday.
Yes.
Who chose the Stars and the fallout of that.
Yeah.
I think it's Dan Vladar. Very clearly, this team plays a significantly better game when he's in net. Is that they play a more structurally sound game? Yes. Is that because they know that, God forbid, you make a mistake on the ice and the puck goes the other way, even with a man advantage, you still believe that Dan Vladar gives you the opportunity to make that save and for that mistake that you make to not come back and hurt you. And I think this team, on the whole, plays looser, but also more structurally sound.
I agree with you.
With Dan Vladar. So that makes him the player of the week in my mind.
I agree with that. And in all honesty, he was my second choice this week.
Okay.
But I think that it's hard to go against a guy who's had 4 consecutive multiple-point games in Travis Konecny.
That's fair.
4. I mean,
he would have been my number 2 choice.
4 straight multiple. He had the hat trick in the one game. He scored 4 straight goals for them across 2 games.
And the one game was when he was playing pretty much on one leg. He had a hat trick.
Yeah.
You know what? You might actually be able to convince me to come over to your side.
Okay, so we're going to go Konecny. Otherwise, I was going to throw it to the guys.
Oh, let's throw it to them anyway. Who do you guys have?
Go with
Andrew says Konecny.
Gus.
He's going Konecny. All right, we'll go Travis Konecny.
All right, so there you go. Yeah,
that's a guy who, like, listen, we've talked a lot about the fact that, like, at some point when the team is in the funk that this team has been in, last night notwithstanding, you need your highest paid guys, the guys who wear the letter on their sweater, to step up. And the results might not have been there, but he's trying.
Yes,
he's trying his damnedest to move this thing along.
He's been trying to drag this team to victory.
Yes.
in the last 4 games, and they've only won 1. But it's not because Travis Konecny wasn't playing his butt off, right?
Travis Konecny, congratulations! I'm serious. I think that we need to print out the Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week
and give him a certificate.
as a certificate, hand it to intern Andrew, have him go down post game, and in
take
the
a
middle
pic.
of a scrum, just say, Travis, just congratulations, you were named the Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week, and then like put it in a frame, right, and then hand it to him, and then see if you can get a picture, and like have like the Triple H point, like where they're next to each other, and just like, I think it'd be great.
All right, let's talk to the Flyers about that. Maybe they'll let us do that.
That's it.
Maybe they'll let us do it.
Gus.
So Travis Konechny is your Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week. Don't forget to call Payroll Service Solutions at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions caters to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again today at 1-866-PAY-EASY.
So Dan Vladar was my number one choice, and you said he was your number two choice.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, he wasn't any of Jackie Spiegel's top three choices. Because we found out after the game yesterday when we were actively as a group saying like, who in the world picked the stars, right? Because it was Beauvillier was number 3, right? Was the third star.
Yeah.
Tippett, I think, was the second star. And then it was Drysdale. I know.
Yeah.
Drysdale was the first star, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, how does Dan Vladar not get picked? And then Bundy goes and tweets out something to the extent of like, I don't know who picked the stars, but whoever it was, they need new glasses. So then I get a phone call. I'm walking out to my car, and I get a phone call from Jackie Spiegel. Now, I'm not going to divulge the details of the call, but I said, ultimately, you know what? Listen, everybody makes mistakes. So maybe we should have you on Thursday.
Yeah.
And you can atone for your sins. You can atone for not making Vladar one of your 3 stars.
And what did she say?
She said some things that I can't repeat on the show.
And you know what happened out because of all this?
What?
So we make a big thing about the stars on the show last night.
Yep.
Right? And I get an email today. Hey, you want to pick the stars on Thursday night? So I am picking the 3 stars for the game tomorrow night.
You better do a good job. You better get it right.
I know. We'll have to consult.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a group
No. I
consultation.
don't want to be tied to your decisions. No. I'm not playing your game. Nay. Well, listen, we just came out of, a nice little stretch here, and I've been told that there's somebody who's probably doing a nice little stretch down there in the Sunshine State, down in Florida. I've been told that Joe is on the phone.
Oh, Joe from Florida.
How we doing?
Hey, guys, how you doing? How's the weather up there?
Oh, well, it's not as good as the weather down there, Joe. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I live way up on the panhandle of Florida, and it was 18 degrees the other day. This part of Florida gets very cold, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, it does, but I think that was, even more extreme cold than normal, right, for you?
Well, yeah, more than normal, but, we had like 6 inches of snow last year. I live near Destin, Florida, if you ever heard of that, up on the panhandle. It's over towards Pensacola.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, the reason I called is to call me crazy, but I would like to see, you're going to think this is nuts, or some people won't, but I've been watching a lot of the games. Why not put Quebecan on the power play as a buffer?
There have been crazier suggestions than that, so I don't think we'll call you crazy.
No,
and in fairness, the power play this year has almost been like Rocky Thompson Horror Show 2.0.
Yeah,
so
I mean, look,
gotta get creative. I don't think it's a totally insane idea.
I don't either. The thing of it is that he doesn't have like a great shot, and so like what you're hoping for with the guy in a bumper position is that they can occasionally take a shot from there on goal.
Yeah.
I think that you can potentially think of Quebecan if you want to put him as like a guy to just go in front of the net and kind of create havoc and things like that.
I like that idea.
I don't hate it.
He's willing to get dirty, get greasy. He battles on the boards. Like he could be a good guy at the net front.
I don't hate that. I don't hate the idea of trying something different because obviously, and I know they scored a power play goal and a nice one to win the game yesterday. Zegras making the play that was really important in there, and he makes the pass to Jamie Drysdale for the shot from the point. Yeah. But the puck's in the corner, and he's getting harassed. And he like sticks his rear end into the defender and knocks him off the puck.
Yep.
And knocks him off the play, creates space for himself.
Yep.
Like Zegras creates space for himself, and then he's able to make that pass to Drysdale, and Drysdale gets the one-timer off for the goal. So Zegras really makes the play there. But yeah, I mean, look, you got to try different things when it's not working.
Yep.
And I don't think that there's a bad idea for the power play at this point. Like, there's not a bad idea.
I agree.
Right? So, Joe, I think that's a pretty smart idea on your part.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I really enjoy your show, and y'all have a stay warm up there.
Thanks a lot,
We'll
Joe.
do our best. Thank you,
Thanks
Joe.
for tuning in.
I mean,
and if you want to call in, by the way, if you want to call
Okay,
in,
go ahead.
it's on the screen, but if you want to call, in case you didn't realize it's 215-949-3232.
Say it again.
215-949-3232.
You know, it is interesting, though, and we can come back to this in a little bit, but, like, you know me, I've been, like, very much on the Gurbenkin train since training camp. I just think he really played himself onto this roster when it wasn't expected. There were some ups and downs early in the season playing time-wise.
Yeah.
You listen to Keith Jones over the weekend, and one of the quotes that went viral was him saying, you know, sometimes we have to remind the coaching staff to play the younger guys, just given where things are at. To me, like, Gurbenkin is a guy that, like, I get it. If whatever reason you're playing matchups, I don't know what the matchup is that he shouldn't be playing against, but if he's getting, like, every 2 out of 3 games, every 3 out of 4 games, and you're experimenting with him in different spots, I think that ultimately helps this team. I really do. Because you have to figure one of two things out, right? Like, one, you have to figure out, is there a way to play this guy in positions that are advantageous to this team long-term? Or is he just not that good? And if that's the case, well, then you need an answer on that as well. I think he's certainly not in the latter group. I think he's in the former group. It's just a matter of figuring out how do you maximize that
Yeah,
player?
I mean, he's ultimately, if we're being honest, he's certainly an NHL player, and he's certainly a player that can be on a good roster. He's ultimately probably a third-line winger.
And that's okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. But yeah, you could try out some other things. Look, it's working right now. He's played well, being out there with Dvorak and Konechny. But that's because he's also playing with 2 very experienced players.
Sure.
So they can cover for a mistake that he makes,
Yeah.
right? So
that is part of the learning process,
Sure.
right? Like, you can't
Sure.
necessarily fault a guy if he's played with 2
100%.
vets and maybe he learns, you know, to quote unquote play the right way.
yeah.
Sometimes it's a good thing.
No, absolutely. And I think that's why that they're doing that. But you heard Tocchet talk about how the left side is really young right now. And it is. We get Gurbenkin, and you got Mishkov, and you got Denver Barkey. Like, all 3 of them, the team is excited about and thinks that they're all going to be part of, you know, the next great wave for the Flyers.
Yeah.
But right now, there's going to be some mistakes when they're out there, and that's okay. It's okay that there's going to be mistakes, and you have to be willing to accept that.
We've got breaking news, by the way. It's not news related to the Flyers. If you're an Eagles fan in the building, we have Eagles-related news. Jeff Stoutland is leaving the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
It just came out. Jeff Stoutland leaving the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Berman reporting. So, Stout University.
Yeah, Stoutland University is done.
It was a good run. It was a good run.
So, anyway, and the only reason we're announcing that for anybody who says, I thought this was a hockey show, is there are, 80-some people, I would say, here at Chickies and Pete's who are listening to the show live, and I'm sure a lot of them are Philadelphia Eagles fans as well as hockey fans. So I think it's worth putting out there for everybody.
He also put out a statement. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Philadelphia, I've decided my time coaching with the Eagles has come to an end. When I arrived here in 2013, I did not know what I was signing up for. I quickly learned what the city demands, but more importantly, what it gives back. The past 13 years have been the great privilege of my coaching career. I didn't just work here. I became one of you. Stout out. It's a classy statement.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
But I think that I'm not sure that he's fond of what's going on with that organization right now.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time. Anyway, I've been told that we also have another person out on the line, so we'll go out there. Should we play a little music? Because apparently this guy, his name isn't just Paul, but it's Fireball Paul.
Fireball Paul.
Paul, are you there?
Hey guys, you guys, I don't know if you remember on the show last year briefly on Retro.
Yep.
For the Oilers game. Yeah. Pleasure talking to you guys. I have a bone to pick with Russ. There's something he said on his show that I thought you guys should talk about. So, losing streak was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's feeling bad. I found myself checking Tankathon that morning. Stuff, and Russ is kind of spoke the leader of like Team Tank for the fans in my eyes. And then he proceeded to say that you should take offers on Marlton if people are offering. And to me, I don't know how you can be Team Tank and say you want to take offers on Marlton.
When did I say? Whoa.
Hold
on. What?
On your show, I literally, you were talking about selling, and who can you sell? And you said people you should like people might want Martone. You should take offers on Martone. And I was just, and maybe this is like, maybe it was like just a passing moment, but I mean, I don't know how you can you get maybe the second best player in that draft at 6. The point of team tank is to keep players like that.
So Fireball Paul.
Well, I might need you to, first of all, clip that. Second of all, my thought is that I probably mentioned, and it might have been around the Quinn Hughes thing, because it was on the show Monday. That was the afternoon after we did Daily Faceoffs, Morning Cup of Hockey. And it was about how the Flyers were unwilling to move with a Martone or unwilling to part with a Michkov in pursuit of Quinn Hughes. And that if you're not willing to move those guys, who are you willing to actually move? I wouldn't move Porter Martone. Maybe did I have a stroke on the show? I have no idea.
So sometimes I think what it is I think that your mouth moves faster than your brain.
It's entirely possible. I don't actually know if my brain functions half the time. Fireball Paul,
Well, Paul, you're not alone because there's somebody else in the comments at MRAW4Z who says, I remember that conversation.
This is clearly part of a fake news.
You know what this is? This is the Penn State Mafia coming.
I think it is, and I'm not even the one who called out the Penn State Mafia.
No, I think that Andrew's over there, you know, on the secret chat room that they have going on.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on a second. Here you go. I said that if you wanted Quinn Hughes, you needed Martone, Forster, and a first.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, like you would have to move Martone if you're trying to get a number one center or a number one defenseman.
One of those.
You know what? That might have been the argument.
It
might have been if you want to try to get the number one defenseman or number one center, you have to be willing to part with a Martone or a Michkov.
Correct.
And then the question is, does it make sense for you to move one of those guys and fill that need? That actually could have been what it was.
Yeah, that makes.
But I don't know, Fireball Paul. If I said something that ridiculous, by all means, clip it, shoot it my way.
Maybe I'll go back and find the clip. It was definitely like you should hear offers on Martone. To me, it's like, I mean, and maybe I'm crazy and super high on him, but that could be the second best player in that draft. And so that's one of those players that's like, I think that's why he's a tank. So
I also do think that like you have to be willing to have conversations on anybody. I don't think that you actively look to move, but like let's just say hypothetically that like in the Quinn Hughes conversation, like if you just said flat out, we are not trading Porter Martone under any circumstances, and then Vancouver's like, well, what about a 1-for-1? And you're like, well, okay, you know, which certainly wouldn't have been the case. I think you always have to be willing to hear what another team has to offer.
I think
but you don't actively look to move them.
Yeah. Well, Paul, thanks for that. Thanks. It's nice to have somebody call in to take Russ to task, since I'm always the guy that gets taken to task, right? So it's nice to finally have one the other way.
Yeah.
It's like I feel relieved, relaxed over here.
You feel better?
Seeing you in the spotlight for once.
Look at this. I like this. And don't mischaracterize me, says a commenter. See, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
I know, right? It's great. It's great.
There you go.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Should the Flyers have a conversation? Like if a team calls and says, we want to talk about Porter Martone, should Danny Briere at least have the conversation, or should he immediately hang up the phone?
Again, it depends on the player. Like if it's St. Louis saying Robert Thomas,
the answer is no.
No, the answer is no. Right? So it's absolutely not.
You know, that's also interesting too, because that's a name that keeps getting brought up, and like there are people who've like been DMing the Snow the Goalie account on Twitter and Instagram to be like, why aren't the Flyers moving heaven and earth for Robert Thomas? Am I crazy for thinking not that he's not that good, but
he's a good player.
But he's not that like
you don't give up
that guy.
You don't give up Porter Martone for Robert Thomas.
No.
And again, and like people that I've talked to think that St. Louis may not really want to trade him yet, and that it might be just one of those see what he's worth kind of situations, but they may not actually trade him.
Yeah.
So.
I'm looking. All right. Wait. Somebody said that there was a statement put out about Gavin McKenna. I've yet to see it. When we get it, we'll read it out here on the show. In case you missed it at the top of the show, Gavin McKenna, future Philadelphia Flyer.
Yeah.
Pick number 14. Facing some legal issues.
Yes.
For felony aggravated assault.
Yes.
Outside of a bar. Not ideal.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
Although. Just imagine for a second. Now, I don't think he's going to get a mugshot, right? The most we'll ever get is that piece of paper, outlining the charges. But just imagine he does land with the Flyers. Can you imagine Philadelphia Inquirer, day after the NHL draft? It's Gavin McKenna, and it's the the document outlining the charges, and it says the Broad Street Bully. I mean,
that wouldn't be in the Inquirer, though. Inquirer doesn't do those headlines anymore. Like the Daily News used to.
The Daily News used to.
Yeah.
All right, so who would do it? New York Post?
New York Post.
Yeah.
Yeah, New York Post would be the one to do it.
Okay.
So Andrew, if you can find that statement and you can pull it up on the screen for us, that'd be awesome. But if there isn't one, that's fine.
Here you go. Brandon Summerman just said Penn State said they're aware of the report and will not have a comment due to an ongoing investigation.
Got it.
So,
got it.
All right. Listen, we have one game left between now and the Olympic break.
Yes.
Ottawa tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Briere said before the game yesterday that, they're just looking to string together 2 wins, try to pick up the 2 wins before the break. And then obviously when they come out of the break, it's about a week and a half between the resumption of the season and the trade deadline. They're in the midst of a roster freeze now for the Olympics. Is tomorrow a game that has so much importance that it could dictate the way Danny Briere and the organization goes into the Olympic break and with the eye on the trade deadline?
No, I don't think it. I don't think it's that. I think it's important for them if you're talking to the team. Again, this is not talking to fans. We're talking to the team, right? If you're talking to the players, it's an important game for them to win because then they still feel like they can get back into this thing.
Yeah.
And I say that because, you're 7 points behind the Islanders, but you have 2 games in hand, right? So as I wrote today, that's the objects in the rearview mirror are closer than they appear situation. Yeah. But it's incumbent upon, if you're going to make up ground, that you have to win games. So in that vein, it's important to the players. Organizationally, I think it would be better if they won to kind of. I think the win last night and Danny talking before the game kind of lowered the temperature a little bit.
It did,
but not like overwhelmingly so.
I think it lowered it a lot.
I think it went from like searing heat to a simmer. Like it's you know what I'm saying? Like it's still there.
I think it was boiling over before. So
yeah, well,
anything better than that.
Yeah, well, it was certainly better, right?
But that's why I think it was smart that he came out and talked instead of letting it, because I think there's a non-zero chance that if he doesn't talk before the game yesterday, that today it's probably doing the rounds again.
Could have been
comments from the
could have been, but if they lose tomorrow, I think you get a lot of that resurfaces.
Yeah, I don't think it goes away.
Right. But I'm not saying it doesn't go away if they win either.
If they lose tomorrow, I think it's more of a conversation of, all right, they're just not that good. They're not going to make the playoffs. I don't necessarily think that the Tocchet quotes catch a second wind. I think it's going to just be more about like, all right, this team is done.
No, but everything that he says now is scrutinized.
Like part of that's his own doing, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it certainly is. But everything that he says and the interpretation of it is always skewing to the negative, even if it's not meant that way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
go
like,
ahead, give everybody the example.
So the example is last night, he's asked 2 questions about Vladar after the game. And the first question that he's asked about Vladar, he says, oh, yeah, he's a real leadership type on this team. He talks about Vladar skating over to the bench and firing the guys up, saying, let's go, don't hang your heads. And he goes, he doesn't have and I'm paraphrasing here. He says, well, he doesn't have a letter on his jersey, but in my head, I think of him as having one, right? So that's kind of an important thing to say. Like, holy cow, you're saying your goalie is in your leadership group, right? It's kind of a cool thing.
It is.
There's a follow-up question. I think the follow-up question was asked by Kevin Kurz, and Kevin asked him further about Vladar. And he talks in the same way that he talked on our show at the Carnival, talked about Vladar having a weakness in the offseason.
Yep.
And hiring someone to come work with him
on his lateral movement,
so he can get better. So lateral movement, right? So a lot of that is actually it's physical training, right? So so he's talking about the lateral movement thing, and he said so he put the time in and worked on that, and he comes into camp and he's in great shape, and now he's having a great season. Well, everybody has kind of taken that as another shot at Matvei Michkov, and it's going too far. Like, you can't ever say anything positive about another player working on the physical end of their game and think that every time that you're saying that it's a shot at Michkov. Like, it's just not. I mean, he's just telling the story
for better or worse, this is the bet he kind of made for himself.
I understand that, but
I got to tell you,
but fans have to be rational.
Sure. I got to tell you, though, at this point, it's February. That's great if a guy came into camp in great shape.
What? But he was answering the question.
I know about Vladar.
Yeah.
Swell.
About what? But why he's having the success he's having?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably highlight the fact that he worked with that coach, and that he's been putting in the time, and he's been putting in the time all year in the weight room and this and that and all that lovely stuff. I think that oddly enough, it's that little phrase: came into camp in shape.
Right, and everybody gets up in arms about that because they think it's a shot at Michkov, and that one certainly is not. And I think that he has had shots at Michkov. I even wrote it, like the thing that he said, and Briere tried to slough it off yesterday,
which I actually talked about on Monday on my show. I was like, if I were Danny Briere and I were going to talk to the media, I would say, "Oh, the thing about being late to to treatments and the diet is not Michkov; it's about everybody." And then Danny comes out last night. He's like, "Well, he's not talking about Michkov directly."
Yeah, I know, and right. And I think Danny tried to slough it off a little bit, but I think those comments
charge a fee.
Those comments, I think Tocchet was talking about Michkov, though, right? I mean, I think that he was. What he said yesterday is not a dig at Michkov. It's just not. And so people are going to interpret it that. Yeah. And that's why I think it's crazy.
Well, the good news is Michkov was in good enough shape to almost play 16 minutes last night. So that's a new baseline going forward.
Yeah.
I saw a question real quick. I want to get to some stuff about the Olympics before we roll out, but there was a question about next week and where we're going to be. Obviously, every Wednesday night we are at a different Chickies and Pete's. And so next week we are in Bordentown, New Jersey, followed by Malvern. We're back to Malvern, my neck of the woods. On the 25th, we are at Parks Casino. And a few days later, we're actually doing a week where we're doing 2 Snow the Goalie radios.
So we have a makeup one.
Yes. We will be doing not only where was I at? Not only are we doing Parks that week on that Wednesday, but that Saturday, before the game across the street, we are going to be in South Philly.
In South Philly, that's correct.
So that's where we're going to be for the next few games. So if you're in the general area of Bordentown or Malvern or South Philly, come on out. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some puck. Now, before we head out, Ant, after tomorrow's game, everybody's going to take a look at the Olympics.
Yep.
We are exactly a week away from the men's tournament starting. I think the women's tournament starts tomorrow.
Correct.
Aside from hockey, what are you looking the most forward to?
Did you ask me this already?
I did, but not everybody checks out post game on the press row show. So we're
bobsled. I'm a big bobsled guy.
Okay.
I like bobsled.
What is it about what's it about the bobsled that does it for you?
I just think it's cool.
Everybody jumping into the
it's very coordinated. It's very choreographed. Like I like that. It needs perfect timing. And I love the movie. And I love the movie Cool Runnings.
Also haven't seen that, but I know what that one's about.
How have you not seen Cool Runnings? It's a Disney movie.
Not a big Disney guy.
Oh my
Not a big Disney guy.
Not a big Disney guy. Make your kids watch Cool Runnings. They will love it.
I don't know if I want to watch it.
They will. Your kids will love it.
And you also like curling, and I like curling.
I like curling because
speed skating. I always found speed skating so interesting.
As I said to you, the thing with curling, is I have a feeling like the 4 of us, me, you, Andrew, and Gus, could start training tomorrow. And by 2028,
I totally lost my train of thought. I thought he meant the bobsled for a second, and then I was wondering, like, I have to go in the front, obviously. Like, I'm going to get squished to the front, and then I'm trying to think of like who's going to be the biggest spoon of all in the bobsled, right? Who's going to be the one? Because isn't the last person in is the most important, right? Because they have to close up the.
But they're also the strongest.
Oh, then I would be at the back of the bobsled. So we all know that. I mean, that's all right. Got it.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. I like speed skating. The blades are like this long. It's insane.
All right.
Speed skating.
We got 30 seconds. You want to wrap this?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Big thank you to everybody who came out tonight to Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. Don't forget to join us again next week in Bordentown. We will be doing Snow the Goalie radios every Wednesday, even through the Olympic break. And don't forget to join us at Xfinity Mobile Arena on Thursday night as we do the press row show, pregame, intermissions, and postgame as the Flyers take on the Ottawa Senators. For Ant, for Bundy, for Gus, and intern Andrew, I'm Russ. Thanks for watching, maybe even listening to Snow the Goalie. Have a great night, everybody.